YouTube, here we are for another of our update videos in the Phase 1 Massive. We are here for KOE today.
Kingdom of Equitaine.
I am Lucky Sixes. This is Hyper G.
It is. Yeah.
We are PTG. And we are here to take you through the KOE changes. And being one of the alpha books, this is a more vigorous look through, and there's more changes, a bit like the Saurians. But we are endeavouring to do it as quick as possible, which for us is not quick, but it is as quick as possible.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will try. But yes, KOE, and yeah.
Nearly a year since the new book has come out.
It is, and they had a long time. It's probably about 6 months of a pretty straight going with their army book. So they've tried and tested a lot of stuff as well, which is good. They were coming out as pretty competitive, should we say, in a lot of the data and a lot of the tournaments that we also noticed going. Some good players sticking with them as well and moving back onto them. Things like that probably helped, those sorts of things, to be honest. But yeah, a good army. So we'll see what they've done to them.
Does it make you wish that you had taken them?
Just stuck with them all year. Would
be the best thing. I think so. I think
you
might miss the trick there. Like
but hey, it's the variety is the spice of life. Hey. So straight away we move on to army-specific rules and orisons, and there is basically a new way of calculating blessing tokens and delivering them, and the orisons themselves are different. So it's one blessing token for every 3,000 points. So generally speaking, you're going to start off with 2. You can still only get to 6 though. I think that was that's the same as before anyway. And still get shielding is still 5 up. +1 to hit with non-harness things are still there. But the biggest change is that the fear, or terror if you've already got it, has changed to discipline 9, which is good on the face of it. It means you can't do some of the terror check shenanigans using orison tokens as well. So that's interesting one. I'm just looking as well, and I don't know whether the orison doing it at the start of every turn is different.
Yeah, because it used to be at the start of every phase, and now it's at the start of a turn. So
so you can do it once per turn rather than once per phase, but it continues for the whole turn.
Yes, it does. So,
you
have to make a choice, to prepare in advance. Yeah.
So
potentially you could put a combat buff on a unit and then fail a charge with it.
Yes.
So
less toolboxy and forgiving, but could potentially. I mean, it just means that the 5+ Aegis is going to be, generally speaking, what you're going to be doing. Probably for the most
unless you're guaranteeing a charge, you're going to need the +1 to hit. That's
but yeah, so the terror thing's quite an interesting thing, and a single unit could still only be 1 orison per turn as well. So big change right off the bat, really. I guess as well that makes it a bit easier to manage orisons.
I think so, and easier for your opponent to understand. And plus, they might spend the whole of the magic and the shooting phase thinking to themselves, "Well, cool, I know what the combat coming is." And what it used to be is they used to get a orison thrown on them, and now it's just either on them at the start of the turn or it's not. I like it as a change. I think it's a good move.
I think so. The blessing. They've removed the face spirit thing at the end, but that's because they've removed face spirit as a rule. So don't worry too much about that. As you can see, face spirit gone. Gallantry, they've just basically taken out doing the maths for you. It's what they've taken out from that. So don't worry too much. Knight Banneret, and this is an interesting one. They've taken out that you can challenge him out. Or negate his thing if you refuse. So he's just a normal champion in that respect, which means you will always get +1 combat score, which is, I think, a positive for KOE players. something to think about. If you kept running into them and getting rid of their champion, you can't do that anymore. Sucks to be you. Ordained.
But you can still have a cat attacks to him.
You can, yeah. Ordained is the new auto sergeant type thing that you get. So that's basically doing that. And for every ordained instead of auto sergeant, you get an extra token at the start of the game. I think it's interesting as well because when we go on to Auto Minister, one of the biggest changes with him is you have to actually use Veil tokens to heal up people, like whereas before you were just doing it for free.
You don't mean Veil tokens. You mean blessing tokens.
Blessing tokens is what I mean. Yeah. So you have to use those tokens for it. So the fact you were getting it for free before was amazing and really, really good. Taking it away, just obviously.
I think one thing with all of these phase 1 changes is that it's a little bit hard to see how much they've simplified the rules because they're currently leaving the old text in with the line through it.
Yes,
but if they were to remove those texts, you'd see, oh, great, that's so much simpler now.
Absolutely, and I think it's something we mentioned in the Story Ancient, something we'll mention here, and something we'll mention in all the other books. I think they're trying to clutter all the books with as much text as possible. I mean, hence the reason they've taken out the maths earlier, in that thing. So, really trying to make it rules as easy to understand as possible.
It's the right direction to go
for that. Prepared position is basically the wall in front of the what do they call it?
Peasant bowman.
The peasant bowman. So it's basically that. I think having it with its center 2 inches having it deployed 2 inches from the center of your unit means you can't have it on deep bus formation things.
Okay.
I think
someone's done the engineering degree.
There must. I was looking at this and there must be a reason why they've said that specifically. And I think it's because if you're more than say 2 or 3 deep, then that's going to be a tough one to actually put on the board. But I don't know.
Don't worry about it. Someone else will work that out.
Yeah, I was trying to work out why on earth that was important when you're deploying it. But,
just go to sleep. It's fine.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
don't do sleep over it.
Sainted has been nerfed somewhat. You don't get the ordained part, which is now called. So you don't get the extra orison for having
offensive, defensive, and discipline 9.
Defensive. Discipline 9's gone. However,
it's kind of already in there.
Been moved back to the orison, so you can get it really easily, whereas you couldn't before. You had to have this to get Discipline 9. Most of the Equitaine Lords are 9 already, so really that's doing it. And being part of this gets you being said gets you just you get all the effects. So it's kind of not gone, but it is gone. But the biggest one, as you mentioned, is the offensive, defensive, and the orison from that being lost. So.
And the special item allowancing being increased, but I think they've got plenty of fun to be had anyway. So
yeah, for sure. So you're just not doing everything. Basically, you're just picking Sainted just means you're a bit more.
Just the lady's favourite, really. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. Courage. Well, if we look at all the personal protections, actually, courage, honesty, and ordeal. They make it simpler wording by saying 5 up rather than 1+ or 4+, because for the most part, not many things.
In practice anyway.
Yeah, so doing it like that. Courage works the same. Honesty works the same. Ordeal is now you've lost the extra combat score when you go in, which is good because having archers giving you a +2 if they're in tier is ridiculous in my eyes.
Yeah.
But I understand why they put it. It's to try and make them interesting and things. But my god!
I guarantee you wouldn't have been saying that if it was you that did the flanking.
No, I know. Yeah, very much so. Wes.
We know.
But yeah. No.
Actually, that battle report hasn't come out yet, so.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. But yeah. I mean, they still get the 5-up pages if they're in combat, so I mean, that's pretty good. To be honest, that will change. So Archer's now a tankier if they go into combat, which is crazy. But yeah, onto attack attributes, lance formation, extra support 2 is another instance of this happening in rule books, which is really cool actually. Because anything with more than one attack. For example, the Resplendence, having it in multiple attack, what things on the charge, getting extra attacks is awesome for KOE. So you're already small anyway, so the maximum attacks you can get is great.
Yeah, agreed.
Mount support as well, which means your mounts are attacking from the 2nd and 3rd rank.
Yeah,
that's cool. Again, maximizing your
I think it simulates the whole charging through your opponent a lot better, and I think that is what KOE needed.
KOE having a bite with the back horses, so that's really cool. Bastard Sword again goes through. This changes every single update. The Bastard Sword and what it does. It is simply +1 strength and devastating charge +1 AP.
Yeah,
that is it now.
Get rid of the wall of text.
What it could do this has changed so much. I think this is a good change, and I like that it's a one sentence as well. We all know now what a Bastard Sword does.
Yeah, thumbs up.
Blessing, obviously just changed for wording purposes. I actually think because it hasn't changed at all, it's better. Because of now what you have to use.
Everything else has changed around it.
Yeah, you have to use blessing tokens for all your healing and things like that. So
I wouldn't have been surprised to see this go to an 8+, but I'm kind of pleased it's stayed at a 7 for now.
Yeah, I think you weren't seeing it much for the reason that there's things like faith and stuff like that that allowed you to get away with doing the blessing tokens. But yeah, no, I think this is the fact it hasn't stayed the same means it's better in a weird way.
Yeah.
On to special items and
don't mention the magical attacks part.
Yeah, have I gone past Folk Hero?
We haven't even got
we haven't got the characters yet. That's why.
Don't worry about that.
Because we've got something. Anyway, Divine Judgment gone down.
Don't mention it.
Gone up.
Don't mention it.
Oh, I wouldn't dream of mentioning the magical attack's been taken away.
Don't mention it.
Tristan Resolve gone up.
Hasn't been taken away. They've all got it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you weren't meant to mention it. So gone up by 5 points. Gone up by 5 points. Mortal Reminder has gone up by 10. But
it has gained the terror, which is really cool.
Which is good. Uther's Metal has gone down by 10. And pretty much works exactly the same. So generally speaking, it's just point changes for all the special items and this point of view. Prayer Wretch just got more expensive, rightfully so. Percival's Penelope, slightly more expensive. Again, it's a really good item. And Fortress of Faith. I
really love that people were taking that and then also a great weapon.
Yeah,
so they had their shield slung on their back, and they were still getting the benefits of the reroll armor saves.
Exactly.
And now they're forcing people. No. That's one of those examples of you're not using it right. So now I think you use it right.
I guess from that point of view, you can't use Percival's Penelope and the Fortress of Faith in the same. Well, there'll be some synergies where you can't use that because the majority of things have gone up ever so slightly. So 5 or 10 points, whatever. Which on the face of it doesn't seem that, but I'm sure there are combos now that you can't use. So it'll all be done for those reasons. Onto the banners, and Relic Shroud has got slightly more expensive. Banner Roland's got slightly more expensive. Oriflame is the same. Good. Yeah. I love Oriflame. I think it's
really. You haven't mentioned it.
I think it's so good. I don't understand how it's still 50, if I'm honest. Castellan's Crest is
more expensive. It swapped places with Elan effectively.
Bannerillion's gone down, interesting that Bannerillion's gone down because I think that's a really forgiving item for it. But I guess just all the others are just so useful.
That one's kind of like covers up bad play or sloppy play or unfortunate play.
True. Black Knight's Tabard has gone up because it was really good. It works exactly the same. It's just a bit of a rules change in rules wording change. So it's still multiple wounds, lose multiple wounds things, but it's just called immune now, which is a rulebook change from that. And then Sacred Chalice is the same.
Yeah. Right. Going well.
Right. Yeah. The characters. Yes.
It doesn't get any any easier from here, folks. So.
No. Although that is the majority of the wording and stuff is
you can refer back to that a lot, yeah.
A lot with the rest. So Damsel, give me down 5 points for what that's worth. Saint it's got cheaper. I'm not sure whether that's because you know don't get fear now. Maybe
well, Sainted hasn't given the discipline 9 anymore, is it? So
well, yeah, it hasn't, and it has.
No, it has. You're right.
You get it through the origin. So I guess just overall, she's just got a little bit cheaper, which it's interesting.
I suppose Sainted used to give you an extra magic points allowance, and now it doesn't. So
the same with the mounts as well, all slightly more cheaper. So overall. Damsel gets better. They love the damsel, don't they? The knights.
Chaff units are safe.
The chaff unit is safe. Equitaine Lord, slightly cheaper, but now cannot be a paladin. Is probably the biggest change here, apart from points here and there. Because paladin is its own unit entry now. Which is very interesting. The big difference between that and the Equitaine Lord is the Equitaine Lord can have these. Which we'll get on to, knightly principles, whereas the Paladin cannot. Paladin still gets all the old benefits from the Equitaine Lord stat line, which we'll come on to later, but cannot get these. And these knightly principles are the ones I want to talk about, actually. Okay. Right, I'm going to skip all of them. How on earth Faith has only got 10 points cheaper and is say the same mechanically, but gain divine attacks is beyond me. It's the most auto take knightly principle in the whole book. It's mad. Faith.
It costs the same as cleansing light, which is the divine attack sword.
Oh, Faith on its own, having the blessing for free, basically the Orison blessings for free, is worth 30 points. It was previously 20.
No, this can't happen.
This goes to depth. So this is auto take. I really like this Faith as a rule. I think it's so good. I think as a rule it's fine, but for 30 points, are you kidding me? That's well good. Anyway, I'm a bit hot now.
Can you only take one knightly principle? Yeah.
Yes,
thank goodness.
you can. Yeah. So
you are missing out on all the other.
Generally speaking, maybe your BSB. This something in a unit getting free blessings is you have to have it, and
if he's a fighty guy, he could get divine attacks just for nothing, effectively.
Yeah, man, it's so good. Ready. Anyway, Valor's gone up slightly, but works the same. Excellence has gone up slightly, 10 points, but works the same. Honor is we had this I think. When we were talking about the magic laws, basically
Truth for Time.
With Truth for Time, it's on the opposite. So instead of getting the +2 advance,
maximize
charge, it's maximize. So I don't know I'd really love to know the maths.
Which is better?
What is better, +2 advance on a swift ride, or an extra maximized? So 4d6 maximized. Or
I bet the maths has been done and it works out exactly the same.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going to say.
But either way, Truth of Time and this is swapped.
Just swapped, yeah.
So
Truth of Time was actually 2 instances of maximized roll.
Yeah, true. So
this is the cheaper Truth of Time.
One of them, there's the maths wrong on one of them. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
one of them's got better or worse. But
we can't work out which.
Justice is the same. Exactly the same in all regards. Forbearance is again uses while using the shield bit.
Yeah. These people with the shields across their back. I'm looking at you.
Yeah, right. Faith, as we've mentioned. And generosity. So generosity has gone up from 5 points to 25 points, but has changed in that.
Attached.
The whole unit can have bastard swords, which are really simple. That's cool.
It gives you more chance of saying bastard sword as well. So.
Yeah. It's not. I did not have to swear.
No, you don't. You're just saying a rule. Yeah.
Bastard sword and weapon master, so that's really cool. So you can switch between them. I get that and the lances, right? So you get +1 strength or +2 on the charge. So that's I like that a lot. and it works for generosity as well. I quite like that.
Right. So you got to the end of the page of a very complex character. Please tell me we're halfway through this, because, oh my god, my brain is melted. And
there are a lot of rules.
We're 2 characters in.
It's odd that there are a lot of rules, and for the most part, they've been taking out rules.
They've simplified it so much, but we're still in
lots of options.
Extremely complicated book.
So probably to help that argument out somewhat, they've added a unit entry, Paladin. But to be fair, Paladin doesn't have many options once he's been chosen. So once you've got over the fact that they've given,
thank the lady.
Here's the lady. So Paladin, what is he? He's basically an Equitaine Lord with some extra stats of the +1 offensive, +1 defensive, and stuff. Pretty much the same. Otherwise, not a leader. So if you're going to have him, he's just roaming around as bonus points.
So he's honesty instead of courage as well.
Honesty, so he's always 5 up no matter what.
And he's got righteous smite,
which is really fail to rule one of the rules where the target would have an Aegis, he gets to reward. I don't know whether there was something in there before where if there was any Aegis of any kind, something got to reroll. And I don't know whether that's one of the ladies' courtier or something like that.
Right, okay.
But it's similar in that regard, but you would have to have an Aegis. The way I read that, you would have to have an Aegis save to the attack that you're doing.
Right.
Not just have an Aegis save. So, for example...
Now it's special save, though, so it's fortitude as well.
Yes, but only to the attack that you were using, right? So, for example, a lot of warriors have toxic 5-up Aegis, but if you didn't have a toxic attack,
sure,
you wouldn't get the
and trigger the
special
save,
right?
Yeah,
that's right. I'm thinking. So so if it only had a flaming Aegis, then you'd have to have flaming attacks in order to get the reroll to win.
Correct.
Right. Good. Otherwise, pretty bog standard in rules.
It needed to be.
He is your basic bitch paladin.
And he's not a leader as well, which is, I think, good.
So
I'm interested to see how much people will want this.
I mean,
maybe
for 150 points,
it's very cheap.
Quite a lot. I suppose you have to put him on a amount, right? So he's not 100. He's like 200 or something.
I still think they're very cheap for what they do.
Special items, you're probably looking at 300.
Yeah.
Maybe 350 or something. But for a single model, especially with Druidism, boys and girls, this guy's going to love Druidism.
Has anyone been doing an Equitaine cowboy army? Because you can get 4 Equitaine Lords and 4 Paladins.
And the courtier lady as well.
Yeah,
Courtier's ladies and stuff like that.
Literally, they're almost automatically like 1-up, 2-up armor with the 5 pages.
Yeah,
just take 8 of these guys.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. 3,500. Yeah, right. So that's that, and onto the folk hero. Who?
Oh boy!
But folk hero is the rules guy.
He always was, and he still is. Yeah.
The things. Basically, he's increased in offensive and defensive. And
hang on, 75 points. Are you joking me?
He's gone up by 5. To be fair,
should have gone up by 50. But yeah, carry on.
Well, it's just interesting that they have like the folk hero as this guy that can start doing stuff. I mean, it looks like 1 attack to start off with, but once you actually can make it into a thing, he starts becoming like 4 or 5 attacks with different items and stuff like that. So for the most part, he's gone up by 5 points, and he's got offensive defensive by 1. But then you go down to the heroic traits. In fact, they've not changed too much. Basically, the Castellan has just been pumped into him always, because you always took Castellan and something else. The heroic traits have stayed the same, so we won't mention too much, but he is one of the offenders, I guess, for the amount of rules that you can just put on him, especially with Sainted, especially with like all the heroic traits and stuff like that, which I guess is his version of the knightly orders or whatever. But yeah, basically the same.
I'm very
slightly
grateful.
More expensive. Yeah. Character mounts. So the normal Destry is the same. Heraldic Steed has changed in that it has the Invectit's gone, which we could probably save this for the unit entry itself, but Devastating Charge +2 attacks, extra support 3. So it means on the charge. I mean, this one won't get it, but the unit entry will be getting it. So, see mount support and extra attacks. Remember that for later, basically.
Yeah. We've already seen it a little bit, but yeah.
Interesting unit. Revered Unicorns got quicker.
That's very quick. March 20. I mean,
there's not many of that in the game.
In my cowboy army of 8 cowboys, you've also got 2 Revered Unicorns. So I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, it's the same. The Peg Charger, Hippogriff, and Face Steed are all the same. There's no Face Spirit, but he's Fearless. Got it straight in there, basically. So trying to take out Rule, Face Spirit. So from that go. Moving on to Core. Feudal Knights.
Surging through now.
Absolutely. Feudal Knights slightly more expensive. Otherwise, 10 points in it. Otherwise, the same. Auto Sergeants, slightly more expensive, 10 points and 2 points for extras. A bit of wording changes. And you have to opt for a shield rather than get it automatically. Otherwise, not too bad. They have an Auto Minister in it, so you don't have to pay for it as well. So the fact that they've gone up 10 points really isn't that much of a cost, considering you used to pay 30 points for a Auto Minister, and now you don't. But otherwise, mechanically, they work the same, so a bit more expensive.
Yeah, I think it's all right because it just makes the champion choice simpler.
Yes, absolutely. Lowborn Levies have got cheaper because they were the thing out of everything you did not see.
Which is a bit of a shame for the the static combat res bus. But I'm sure it's still there somewhere.
Yeah, I like that. The shield, the parry aspect of it has gone a bit more expensive, but they as a unit have gone cheaper. So
they needed the shields though, really, don't they? So
defensive too. Yeah, absolutely.
It's very interesting if you're taking any other weapon, if I'm honest. So.
Yeah. Lowborn Archers getting cheaper for the min size is very interesting and not more expensive because they were becoming a bit more used. However, they don't now have accurate.
No,
so they don't have the expert bowman. So they've gone back to being.
Oh, Gobbo's going to be devastated.
Yeah, man. You shoot in the 3rd and 4th rank if you don't move. So that's a extra version of shooting extra rank and Volleyfire. Yeah. However, they've got a bit pants.
I think so, considering they start at 4 up.
Yeah.
I'm
not saying that they ever should have had accurate, by the way, because they're lowborn archers. However,
as opposed to elite trained elves. Yeah.
However, the fact that they've now gone down only 10 points and lost accurate is huge. Really. So really, they've been given a points increase, in my opinion. When you look at the maths, really. But that takes us to Core. That's the lowborn archers, the only ones really mechanically that've changed. Men at Arms, slight bit cheaper for your starting thing, but more expensive for extras. They have shields inbuilt, so the opposite really of your core levy guys.
The ones who don't need it get given it for free.
yeah. These guys have now changed for the spear instead of paired weapons on the Avad.
Which you think spear is amazing now.
I must admit, the fact that Rending Banner is gone, and it seems like AP is slightly
less easy to come by.
Easy to come by. Not so much that it won't be in armies and stuff, but AP is certainly the one that they're really, really slowly trying to eke out of the game. It seems the fact that they get spears makes them even better. So spears are you're definitely going to see them quite a lot. Knights Forlorn's cheaper for the most part, and I'm just trying to see where they don't. If they have auto, they don't have the auto minster.
No, they don't.
Even if they're the auto wardens, which is I guess you're going to use them on loads of. You can have loads of them, so bringing back one isn't too big on them. But it is some. It's you still lose it, you know.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, but.
So yeah, slight change. I think overall they're still pretty meh. I can't see them being used much, because
I think there's just so many colourful options that these ones just get passed over.
Yeah, but yeah, Sacred Reliquary, obviously one that is designed to go with them, has got more expensive. Attached and exclusive rank and file is just rule changes, sort of wording changes rather. And same with the must be deployed in a standard, blah blah blah. We've got 5 pages though, so 25 points for 5 pages is basically the change here. Yeah, it's all right. If you're going down that route, I think if you get men at arms or whatever.
I think there'd be some really colourful peasant armies out there, but I just think that at the minute everyone's enjoying the knights.
I think so, yeah. Knights Resplendent, ever so slightly cheaper. It was good because they were getting crowded out by other things.
Yeah, I think they a year ago they were like, let's take Knights Resplendent, and then everyone realised how good everything else was.
Yeah.
So
I actually think they could have been a bit more drastic with this points change, put them down a bit more. Otherwise they work exactly the same. So make sure they charge. God damn it! Make sure these. Charge.
Or get that magic item on them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. When they do though, absolutely great. And they obviously since the last one they've got the bodyguard in as well. So there's that. But yeah, I still think they're just that bit too expensive to compete with the other stuff. Not that they are expensive, just internally I think they're too expensive. Oh, Knights Penitent. Now.
Oh, are you not happy?
They have lost an armor.
I see.
So they used to be armor 3, they're now armor 2, which means they are 3 up armor because they come with great weapons. That's in an army of 2 up armors. That's huge. That's your first thing. No points changes, so they're exactly the same. They're relatively cheap for the first guys, but very expensive for the ones afterwards. They have also lost their Order-Minster. And any ordeal.
That's a big wow, isn't it?
Yes, and any ordeal version. So they now it can't regrow for free. Remember, their wounds that they've taken, and on 2 HP, 2 up armor, that was massive. That was made them so tanky, it's unbelievable. Also, their mounts are even worse than before. I mean, they were the best mounts in the game.
Yeah, they were. Strength 5 AP1 originally.
Now they're just your regular
Equitaine
horses. Yeah.
Still better than normal horses.
Yeah, these guys have been pummeled.
But they have gained courage, so that's an Aegis against if you don't get an armor save, so that's good.
Yeah, which I guess works better. They were always just Aegis 6, so Aegis wise they have, but I think small arms, like there's enough there that's only AP 3. Especially with the AP change as well, that means they'll get an armor save of 6 up, and they won't get courage. I think courage is but definitely by far the worst of the 3.
Okay, so you say that's not enough of a boost to make up for the weaknesses.
I don't think so. For sure. I'm not saying these aren't good. I'm just saying compared to where they were, I think these guys are the biggest losers of the whole book.
Okay, fair enough.
And that's trying to be not on the fence. So I don't know if you noticed. But yeah, so I'm sad because I did include them when I actually used lots of it. But I think
it's time for the penitentiary.
It's time to look for other things outside the penitent, I believe. Knights of the Quest. And extra models have got a bit more expensive, so overall a bit more expensive. Otherwise,
a lot more expensive, really.
15 points extra for extra things. But yeah, they haven't got the extra attack. I suppose they don't need it for the Destries, to be honest. They work the same. Their quest is, and they were very good. The quest is such a great rule, especially against spamming armies. I think they need to go up as well. But they haven't been changed too much, so they are what they are, really. Hedge Knights a bit cheaper.
Yeah, which is fine.
Have gained light lance and paired weapons, and the horse, the cob, is now We need to get Matty P on for these. I need to listen to his.
He's a donkey.
Yeah, I need to listen to Matty P's take on these.
Yeah, the horsing
horse
hour
changes. Yeah.
We're still crying out for it, Matty.
One thing I would like to ask the viewers, it's something
because I couldn't answer you.
Yeah, really. So they've been given light lance and paired weapons, but obviously don't have weapon master. So does that mean, from my recollection, that means that they have to pick one and have to stick with it for the rest of the combat, whereas weapon master provides it? I mean, I could look, but I'd rather.
Well, no, weapon master doesn't say anything about changing. Well, weapon master says that you can choose at the start of combat. So I guess that means every different start combat you can choose. So every different start of every different combat.
That's what I mean. So
whereas if you have the two weapons, does that mean you've got to stick with one throughout the entire combat? If it goes,
that's what I think.
I think it must be that. Although,
that's what I think.
Obviously, light lances you would only really
get up
when you're charging. So,
but the fact you don't have weapon master must mean that you can't switch in the second round of combat. So
yeah. So you can't charge with a light lance and then have paired weapons the next round.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I would say so.
I really like these, actually. The fact that light troops are not scoring is tough because they're competing with a lot of scoring special. But I really like the diversity, actually, that these guys can bring, especially with now the light lance option, so they can be strength 5, AP2 if needed. And the horse getting a bit of extra pip of strength is good. So I think these... I mean, getting cheaper and getting more versatility and better, I think these are one of the winners, actually.
Yeah, hatred and battle focus on the charge is always nice as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Hedge Knights, well done. You've won. Yeoman Outriders and the extra man has got to paint cheaper.
Oh, they could make that extra point 1 point per extra model, and it wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah. We'll move on. Hooded Men. Ever so slightly cheaper, and
they've got rid of the text.
Forget about those rules. Don't worry. These guys have the prepared position, so the wall things. What do they used to be called? Yeah, back in traditional times.
The flaming. No,
it was It was like a barricade type thing. But
actually, that's the point. The flaming arrows are gone completely, aren't they, from Equitaine? I might be like years out of date with that.
But it is.
They did always used to have the stakes.
Yes.
Defensive stakes.
The biggest thing for these, apart from that, is that they've been given the option of crossbow now. So some strength, AP shooting.
Which is the same as your lowborn unit, to be fair.
Oh, well, did they gain it as well? Did I miss that?
No, they didn't gain it, but they always had it. So I guess they're saying that hooded men, there's no reason why they shouldn't have access to crossbows when the lowborns have got the crossbows.
Sure. So, but yeah, can't say I used them before, so it'd be interesting to see.
You like your crossbow units, though, don't you?
I do like crossbows. Crossbow tickles my fancy.
It's your weapon of choice when the apocalypse comes.
Yeah, very much so. The only change of the siege weapon is the catapult is 4x4 instead of 3x8. So they decided, no, we're being
not
silly.
Not an Equitaine killer.
Yeah, we're killing our own things. What we're doing. But yeah, otherwise 4x4. So technically less.
Will you still take them?
Yes. Because I've got the models. So there we go. Peg Knights are just ever so slightly cheaper. That's a win in my book. In a book that's tending to be more expensive across the board.
Have they lost an armor?
Oh no.
They have.
Oh no, they have. Oh no, that's terrible. Peg Knights. Oh no, I missed that completely. Oh no.
Oh, they've lost an armor. Move aside, Penitent Knights. You've got a new winner or loser.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
No, that's not good.
They're now only 3 up as well, aren't they? And courage is already there anyway. But
yeah, they're already at courage. But yeah, so that is quite bad. Although these are the big. Yeah, that's bad.
These are the big ones.
These are the big ones.
The little ones have got a better armor than them. No, they haven't. They're the same, but it's heavy armor to light armor.
So I mean, if questing knights weren't the auto pick out of those 3, I think they are now. I think you're going to be looking at questers over Peg Knights. Peg Knights, I mean, I get it because they're flyers, right? So that having a tanked up flying unit is tough. Some armies just can't deal with it, but that's quite big. That's quite
Well,
big.
considering you only had like three to five models in a unit, I think
Yeah,
that's still quite a bold nerf.
absolutely right.
I'm not
Well,
complaining. I like it.
so I mean, I guess what you're looking at is what they have tried to do is make this
Sky
Sky
Herald's better.
Heralds
Yeah,
versus
more,
Pigs
more appealing.
much more appealing in that regard, and they certainly have. Impact Hexagon, but on a strength 4 thing with like 3 is really nothing. The
But
Heraldic
you're getting
Steel,
2 extra attacks instead, devastating charge.
absolutely. So
it's better.
they are much better in terms of they're still only strength 4, but they pump out more attacks than the Peg Knights themselves on the charge, and they're quicker as well. So I mean, I like it. I like what they're trying to do with it. They've gone up 10 points extra for extra models, but otherwise they're trying to make that a bit closer together. Really,
I think so. Yeah.
Onto the Fae, and obviously we've lost Fae Spirit as a
and Water Spirit as well.
And Water Spirit for Naiads. I think what you will see in the Fae is that was where a lot of the deployment shenanigans was, and they've got special ambush water terrain now. So again, they're trying to decomplexify the books and put it into the rule book as a mainstay. So fine.
What was that word? Decomplexify?
Yeah, man.
I love that. Or make it simpler, but I like your
no,
one.
No. Definitely decomplexify.
Decomplexify. That's amazing. Beat on that.
They've gained Fearless, but they've lost the Fae Spirit. They're slightly more expensive if you want to get big units of them, but only by minimal amounts. Healing Waters is their new spell. They did have that before.
It's just in blue because Druidism's changed.
Yeah, it is a new spell.
It's just like a reread Healing Waters in case you haven't already, because it doesn't do what it used to do.
And interestingly, the champion has gone down. So if you want some spells not from characters, they're a bit cheaper, which I like. I think that's quite good.
Yeah. Naiad should be in every list.
Yeah. Friar's Lantern has got cheaper. Has gained feigned flight and ghost step, but again that's through the Fae Spirit. So the Fae Spirit kind of took some of that away, I think. But they also, part of its Lights in the Mist is reduced that you don't -2 the pursuit distance. I can't say I'm too familiar with this unit and how you use them.
No.
And there are so many shenanigans I know with this, but I'm not sure how much that takes to it. I guess taking the -2 pursuit distance is the reason they've got cheaper as well. Again, you don't want these in combat. You want them for shenanigan reasons, so you'd still take them for that.
I think 125 for a chaffy single model is still a respectable price.
For sure. The ladies courtier. I mean, talking about decomplexification, as we are. They have certainly taken the complexity off the 2 options. They're basically, for one of the options, are just providing the magic. So you're choosing which magic. I still this unit is still so good in terms
and it's a big winner over the new Druidism. So
absolutely. Agility 7, Strength 5, AP 4 stuff. It's good, man. The issue with it though is that it has dropped its movement. So it used to be 816, it's now 612, and that will affect it quite a lot.
And it's gained Fearless, so if you get that charge wrong, you are stuck there.
Well, I don't know whether it had it already through Fae Spirit.
The
old Fae Spirit rule.
Sure.
So I think that's just a
clear
clear
up there. Fair enough. But losing the movement and gaining and is a big problem for Fearless.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you don't make that charge, you are out in the open.
Yeah, basically, I think that just means you're going to get it into combat later, maybe 1 turn later. That probably does to it, unless you're really good. Fae Knight and has gone down ever so slightly. The Bound to the Land text has gone, although it's still special ambush water. It's
simplified.
Yeah, again, it's just simplified mainly. The dual Aegis has gone into combat Aegis, so has been improved by that way. Excuse me, which is good if you're going Champion of the Green Knight. And although the Warden of the Hooded Man has now changed to be towering presence rather than large or gigantic, and I think that is bad for the large stuff because there was more large stuff that didn't have towering presence. I think gigantic gets it automatically, so it's kind of not all large stuff is going to be affected by this now. So just to be wary of that when you do it. But yeah, and that, boys and girls, take a sigh. Oh my goodness, we tried to go as quick as we could, but that was plenty.
I'm just gonna clap here because I do not like that's unfair. I find the KOE book quite stressful as a non-KOE player, and I commend you for how you've just gone through that because
I think
you've done well there.
I think it's clear that they're trying to reduce the complexity. Like, not just
that'll show in all the armies.
Not just with KOE, but with all the armies. But with them especially, they're trying to make it easy to understand. It's just that the fact that they've got the knightly orders and the sainted and
the principles,
and then now sainted. Is he a sainted or is he a paladin or is he and then the ordo and then the
9 different knight units.
So it's tough when you're trying to make everything so different. Because they've really expanded the KOE, but it's so tough to actually make it simple to understand for people that don't use that army book. And I think it's commendable that they are trying and stuff.
Definitely,
for sure.
I think one thing that benefits an opponent to KOE is that they can see an opponent's army list and just look at those entries.
Yes.
Whereas if you're looking at, I don't envy KOE players because there's just so much to choose from. It's fantastic, and it's also like, oh, where do I begin?
Yeah.
So
it's arguably why I didn't go back to KOE actually. But we'll save that discussion for another time, I'm sure. That is it. Thank you very much for joining us for this part of the updates. There are plenty more though, so do hit like, share, subscribe, and especially the subscribe with the 2 bells tick, whatever it is, because there's plenty more coming out, and you definitely don't want to miss out.
No, I don't.
This is definitely
These are
our
useful.
this is our most in-depth review of one of these balance patch updates. So if you haven't been following us for a while, you'll notice that there's lots of stuff coming out.
Let us know if you actually like our balance patch reviews.
Yes.
We don't tend to do them, so let us know if you like this format and whether you change anything about them, whether the different way we can present them, because we're really excited about doing it.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is fun. It'll help us, right? You'd imagine. But yeah, hit us up on the forum. Hit us up on Facebook, which is PTG Proxy Gaming, and Lucky 6 PTG on the Twitter. Twitter. Obviously YouTube. We love your comments. Keep them coming. Check out all the other videos. And let us know if there's any obvious synergies that we've missed. And if you've got this far, it doesn't matter because you've watched the video. Go check out Wes's video. It was probably much more. I'll only say that now. Probably much more in depth. He is a ACS, to be fair. So there you go.
Yeah.
But good. Yeah, that'll do for now. We'll see you next time.
We will.
See you later.